My parents kicked me out in 12th grade for being pregnant. 18 years later, they sued me. I still remember the night they threw my suitcase out of the house like I was garbage. My mom's voice was cold. "You've ruined our name, Nicole. Leave before your father sees you." I was only 17, standing barefoot in the rain, one hand on my belly, the other wiping tears. I begged them to listen, but my dad just slammed the door. Before we continue, make sure you hit follow, share this story, and don't forget to drop your thoughts below, because what happens next will shock you. I spent that night at a bus stop, trembling, clutching the tiny ultrasound picture in my hand. I had nothing. No money, no clothes, no family. My perfect parents, who always bragged about discipline and family honor, had erased me like I never existed. But what they didn't know was that the girl they threw away that night wasn't going to stay broken forever. For years, I worked day and night, waitressing, studying online, and taking care of my baby, Grace. I didn't tell anyone about my past. I just kept building, piece by piece. When I finally started my cleaning business, people laughed. A high school dropout cleaning houses? They'd say. But within a few years, I had contracts with hotels, offices, and real estate firms. My company grew faster than I ever imagined. 18 years later, I had everything. A mansion, cars, and a daughter in college. My parents? I hadn't seen them once since that night. Until last month when a letter arrived. A lawsuit with my name on it. They were suing me. They wanted half of my company, claiming I had used family property to start it. The same family that abandoned me when I was pregnant. That day, something inside me snapped. I wasn't that scared 17-year-old anymore. I was the woman they created through their cruelty, and they were about to find out exactly what that meant. The courtroom felt colder than I expected. My parents sat on the opposite side, dressed perfectly, faces proud, pretending to be victims. My father's lawyer stood up first, his voice sharp and confident. "Your Honor, Nicole used her family's old property to start her business. She owes half of her company's earnings to her parents." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The property he was talking about? A broken-down shed behind our house. The same place where my dad had thrown my things out when I was 17. That's what they were calling family contribution. When it was my turn, I stood up. My palms were sweating, but my voice was steady. "Your Honor," I said, "my parents kicked me out when I was pregnant and homeless. That property was the place they left my clothes in the rain. I didn't take anything from them. They took everything from me." The entire courtroom went silent. My mom shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my eyes. My dad stared straight ahead, jaw tight. I could see his pride cracking. The judge leaned forward. "Do you have proof of your claims, Ms. Nicole?" That's when I smiled. "I do." I opened a folder. Inside were old letters, eviction notes, and a statement from our old neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, who had witnessed the night they kicked me out. And then I played a short video clip on the screen, a recording from the neighbor's door camera, showing my dad throwing my bag into the rain while yelling, "You're not my daughter anymore." The entire room gasped. Even the judge looked stunned. My father's lawyer fumbled with his papers, whispering in panic. My mother's face went pale. She hadn't expected this. I wasn't the broken girl they left behind. I was powerful now, calm, confident, and unshakable. And when the judge finally spoke, her voice cut through the silence. "Case dismissed. And Mr. and Mrs. Hart, I strongly advise you to think twice before exploiting your daughter again." My parents froze. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. I picked up my bag, looked straight at them, and said quietly, 18 years ago, you threw me out. Today, I'm walking out again, but this time, I'm the one who wins." As I stepped outside, cameras flashed. Reporters had already caught the story. But what the world didn't know yet was that this was only the beginning of my real revenge. 2 days after the court case, my parents' faces were all over the news. Parents lose lawsuit against self-made millionaire daughter. Reporters called it the most humiliating loss of the year. But for me, that wasn't enough. I wasn't just going to defend myself anymore. I was going to expose everything they'd done. The lies, the manipulation, the betrayal. They had kicked me out for being pregnant at 17. Told everyone I'd ruined their family name. And yet, Now they wanted a share of my company, the very empire I built while they pretended I didn't exist. That night, I sat in my penthouse office, the city lights glowing behind me, and opened an old email folder labeled "Do Not Open." Inside were years of messages, proof of how my parents borrowed money in my name, forged my signature, and spread rumors that I was a runaway. I had stayed silent back then, afraid no one would believe me, but not anymore. My assistant Claire walked in. "Nicole, are you sure about this? Once this goes public, there's no going back." I looked at her, calm but cold. They wanted to destroy me. Now they'll watch their own reputation burn. The next morning, my PR team released a statement, not just about the court case, but about the truth. Every document, every signature, every lie was exposed. Social media exploded. Thousands of comments poured in. "She's a hero. Imagine your own parents suing you after abandoning you. She didn't lose her family. She escaped them." By evening, my parents' business partners started backing out of deals. Their so-called friends stopped taking their calls. The empire they had built on fake respect started crumbling overnight. And just when I thought it was over, I received a message that made my heart stop for a moment. "Nicole, please, it's your mother. We need to talk." I stared at the screen for a long time. The same woman who said I'd brought shame was now begging for a meeting. I typed one sentence in reply. "You'll get your chance to talk, but this time, in front of everyone." The charity gala was supposed to be the biggest event of the year. Hundreds of guests, flashing cameras, champagne towers, and the perfect place for my parents to fake their perfect family image one last time. But this time, I was in control of the show. As I walked into the ballroom, every head turned. Reporters whispered my name, cameras clicked nonstop, and my mother froze mid-laugh when she saw me. I could see the panic flash in her eyes. My father's fake smile tightened. "Nicole, you came," he said, his voice uneasy. "Oh, I wouldn't miss this," I replied, my tone calm but sharp enough to cut glass. They didn't know that I had sponsored the entire gala anonymously. Every banner, every light, every camera feed was under my team's control. What they thought was their stage was actually mine. As the speeches began, my mother took the microphone, pretending everything was fine. "We're grateful for everyone's generosity tonight." "Family means," I interrupted her, "everything, doesn't it?" The crowd turned toward me, surprised. I slowly walked to the front. "I'd like to share something about this family." The large screen behind her flickered to life. A slideshow of my parents' old photos appeared first, smiling vacations, family dinners, school events. Then suddenly the images changed. Emails, documents, screenshots. Gasps filled the room. On the screen appeared proof. The eviction letter they made me sign when I was 17. The loan papers forged under my name. The texts where my mother called me a disgrace. My father shouted, "Turn that off." But the mic picked up his panic, echoing across the hall. "Why?" I said. "You had no problem watching me sleep on the street while you dined in hotels. You told everyone I deserved it." The crowd was silent. Some people started recording. Others whispered in shock. I turned to the audience. They said I ruined their name. But tonight I want everyone to know I built mine. At that moment, the screen switched to a final slide. A photo of my company's logo with the caption, "Founded by Nicole Summers, at 19 years old." The crowd broke into applause. Cameras flashed everywhere. My parents stood frozen, humiliated, exposed, speechless. As I stepped off the stage, Claire whispered, "You did it." I smiled faintly. Not yet. The real revenge isn't humiliation. It's success that never stops. By the next morning, my name was everywhere. News channels replayed the clip of my confrontation at the gala over and over again. "Nicole Summers exposes her parents in viral charity event," one headline read. Another one screamed, "From homeless teen mom to millionaire CEO, Nicole's story will shock you." The internet turned me into a symbol of strength overnight. People flooded my social media with messages like, "You're my inspiration," and "You gave me the courage to stand up for myself." I had hundreds of business inquiries, interview requests, and offers from investors who once ignored me when I was struggling. But not everyone was cheering. My parents' phones were blowing up with calls, not from friends, but from lawyers, donors, and social services. The truth about their charity fraud, tax evasion, and forged paperwork was spreading faster than they could contain it. Within days, their organization lost its sponsors. Reporters camped outside their mansion, demanding answers. The family name they worshipped so much was now destroyed, not by rumors, but by truth. 3 days later, I received a call from my mother. I didn't answer, but she didn't give up. A few minutes later, another call came through, this time from a private number. Against my better judgment, I picked up. "Nicole, please." Her voice trembled. "You've made your point. You've ruined us. We have nothing left." I stayed silent for a moment, then said calmly, "Now you know what it feels like to have nothing." "You don't understand," she cried. "Your father is sick. We could lose the house." I laughed softly. "That house was never a home. You kicked me out so I could learn responsibility." "I did, and now I'm teaching you the same lesson." She sniffed, trying to sound pitiful. "Can't we fix this, sweetheart?" "We're still family, I repeated. "You stopped being my family the day you turned your back on me and my unborn child." I ended the call, but what came next surprised me. A few weeks later, I received a court notice. My parents were suing me for defamation and emotional damage. The same people who threw me into the streets at 17 were now trying to destroy me again. My lawyer chuckled as he read the complaint. "They really think they can win this after what they did?" I sighed. "They don't want to win. They just can't stand losing to me." The trial became a national sensation. The courtroom was packed. Journalists, bloggers, influencers, all waiting for another public showdown. My parents sat across from me, looking smaller than I'd ever seen them. Their arrogance was gone. Their eyes were dull, defeated. Their lawyer tried everything. She exaggerated. She edited the videos. She made it up for fame. But when we presented the original eviction letter with my father's signature and a dozen witnesses confirmed my story, the entire courtroom fell silent. The judge looked directly at my parents and said, "You should be ashamed. You didn't just fail as parents, you failed as human beings." The verdict was clear. They lost. As I stepped out of the courtroom, cameras surrounded me. One reporter shouted, "Nicole, how do you feel after winning the case?" I paused, smiled slightly, and said, "I didn't win against them. I won for myself." The clip went viral again. Within hours, I was trending worldwide. But this time, it wasn't about revenge. It was about redemption. Months passed. My company expanded internationally. Claire and I started a scholarship program for young single mothers who wanted to study and rebuild their lives. Every story I heard reminded me of that scared 17-year-old girl who slept on park benches, and how far she had come. One evening, I stood by my office window overlooking the city skyline. The sun was setting, golden light flooding through the glass walls. My daughter, now grown and confident, walked in with a smile. "Mom, the new campaign is live," she said. "It's going viral already." I smiled proudly. "You're just like me," she grinned. "No, Mom, I'm stronger. Because of you." For a moment, I looked at her and felt everything, the pain, the struggle, the humiliation, fade away. Success wasn't just about the money or headlines. It was about peace. It was about finally choosing myself. As I turned back toward the city, I whispered softly, "They kicked me out to break me, but all they did was set me free."